Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. We got a discussion to talk about that is going to stir the hornet's nest a little bit because there's going to be some people that absolutely disagree with some of the things that I say in today's podcast. And there's going to be people that kind of agree with what I'm saying. But all this kind of aligns with the FCC's rule and possibly forcing carriers to unlock phones after 60 days. Link is in the chat if you guys want to read it for yourself. And the article is from CNET. And first of all, let me just go out and say on a whim with one of my viewers, Gene, who literally talked about this yesterday. And I want to apologize to him because he actually was correct on this. So, yeah, Gene, shout out to you. Shout out to you, buddy. Isaac, what's going on, man? Welcome in. Glad to have you here. Okay, so we're kind of facing something that's like really odd. This is from CNET, and I am going to screen share this so you guys can see what I am seeing. But you guys can also look at the site itself if you guys would like to. Here we go. So hopefully you guys see that pretty well. And also, before I get started, right there, the QR code below on screen. If you guys want to try out Helium Mobile for 1 month free, use my promo code. Scan that QR code to get that promo code so you guys can go ahead and get your first month started. If you guys do want to help out with a monetary small donation, on the upper left, there's another QR code. You guys can scan that. Anything's appreciated. Doesn't matter what it is. But also like and share. That's the biggest help you guys can give me with this channel and this podcast show. So just kind of wanted to get the formalities out of the way. And what we're looking at is the FCC. Okay. So just real quick, let me just kind of clear out that for a second. And let's just really kind of get into it. Okay. So it says here, this is from CNET. It was written by Eli Blumenthal. And it goes on to pretty much talk about that the Federal Communications Commission, also known to everybody as the FCC, is considering a new rule that could make unlocking your phone a breeze. In a new proposal, the FCC chairwoman, Jessica Rosenworcel, is making a push that mobile providers will need to unlock phones within 60 days of activation. So that's pretty interesting. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to agree with that, right? When it comes down, consumers obviously want what they want for themselves, and they really don't think about the repercussions that come along with something like this, which I am, in fact, going to highlight today. This is why I said that some people are going to disagree with me, is because I am going to go in on the opposite end, right? So I'm playing devil's advocate, okay? And you know what? It's okay for people to disagree. And I welcome, for those to share their thoughts on this. So, don't be shy about sharing your thoughts. All right. So let's just kind of continue on with this little peruse here. New unlocking rules would allow consumers the freedom to take their existing phones and switch from one mobile wireless service provider to another more easily, as long as a consumer's phone is compatible with the new provider's wireless network, said the FCC in a statement announcing the proposal. To go on with this, it continues to say verbatim, the issue will be discussed at the agency's open meeting July 18th. So that's in 9 days. They're going to discuss this. Whether the commission will take a vote on the new set of unlocking rules, as well as seek comments on whether the new unlocking rules should apply to existing contracts and if the changes might impact the deals carriers give on new devices to lock them into service. Well, I can tell anyone this, that this is definitely going to impact carrier deals. We'll get into that here in a little bit. So they have it as a quote here, and it says that real competition benefits from transparency and consistency. Rosenworcel said in a statement, that is why we are proposing clear nationwide mobile phone unlocking rules. When you buy a phone, you should have the freedom to decide when to change service to the carrier you want and not have the device you own stuck by practices that prevent you from making that choice. Among the big three U.S. wireless carriers, unlocking policies vary. Verizon has long been required to unlock devices automatically part of its agreement to purchase the 700 megahertz spectrum back in 2008. In 2019, the FCC agreed to put a 60-day window on unlocking at the carrier to help Verizon fight fraud. When T-Mobile closed the deal to purchase the prepaid carrier Mint Mobile earlier this year, the FCC similarly required T-Mobile to automatically unlock devices purchased through Mint Mobile and its sister company Ultra Mobile after 60 days. But the new rule, if passed, would force AT&T and T-Mobile to join the automatic unlocking game after 60 days. Today, T-Mobile will automatically unlock devices after their installment plans are paid off, while AT&T requires users to pay off devices and then submit a request to carrier unlock the phones. Going on, it says the carriers have traditionally viewed locking a phone to the network as a way to keep customers attached to their services, particularly when combined with discounts on new devices. Unlocking phones, particularly modern devices that can take advantage of virtual eSIMs, will make it easier to use phones abroad and avoid roaming charges or having to move to pricier plans that include international data, while also allowing for greater flexibility to switch carriers domestically. Because Verizon already has to unlock devices after 60 days, T-Mobile has made plays to try to get its users to switch, including offering Network Pass, a program that lets you sample its network for 3 months alongside your existing service provider on phones you are already using. The trial requires an unlocked phone, which is easier to find at Verizon than AT&T, and since it uses eSIM, users can get started by simply just downloading the T-Mobile app. So they're just kind of go into it, but that's pretty much the gist of the article when it comes down to unlocking devices. And like one thing that I do know is that a lot of people are going to be for this, right? They're going to be for this because, people are like, damn the man, and I want to be able to go where I want to go. And you know what? Like, I totally get that. I'm not dismissing anybody that feels that way. I know that, when you buy like a brand new iPhone 15 or even the upcoming iPhone 16 or the Pixel 9 or the Samsung Galaxy S25, I know people are going to be like, maybe they got it, they jumped ship, they switched to a carrier, they got the phone, they're like, oh my God, like the service here sucks. I'm going to go back to my previous provider. And they want to be able to take their phone to that provider. And this would allow them after 60 days, right? If this is voted on and voted for yay and they pass it, then this would be a benefit of consumers. But there's a lot of repercussions with this type of ruling that can definitely change the landscape when it comes to smartphones, how we get them, and how we use them. To be realistic with everybody, when it comes down to it, it's more so like this, and this is the unpopular part. What I see happening if this was to be implemented in and these companies were forced to unlock phones after 60 days, regardless of the situation at hand, I honestly feel like smartphones, and for us to obtain those smartphones, we're going to be paying more money out of pocket for them. Now, I'm not saying they're going to raise the prices on these devices. What I'm saying is that majority of people go in and they get these new devices either doing a trade-in and getting so much money lopped off the phone, or they go through financial options by financing the device. And also, companies do these deals, these limited window bulk percentage drop-off price. And we're going to end up with this type of scenario, we're going to end up seeing very few of those. And here's the reason why. From a consumer standpoint, having your phone unlocked after 60 days is no big deal to you because, once your phone is unlocked, you damn well know you can take your phone wherever you want to go. That's totally fine. Where it impacts consumers is you're not going to get those phones at what you would consider to be decent prices. Okay, you may end up actually having to pay full price for the phone. Because here's the thing. These companies, they sell these phones, right? They buy a massive bulk order of these new phones. And obviously, between the carriers and the smartphone manufacturers, there is obviously a sale percentage that these companies like T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, they get for buying in bulk. Say AT&T decides to buy 500,000 iPhone 16s, in the first 3 months of release, right? Well, they're not going to pay the exact dollar amount of those iPhone 16s they're going to have some sort of discount because they're buying in bulk. And obviously they're going to be selling these devices through their network of stores and online website. So if somebody was to, to get these devices and it's forced to be unlocked from the FCC's ruling after 60 days, people that are on financial plans to own these devices would have their phones unlocked. They can literally just at the 60-day mark, once they know it's network unlocked by checking in their settings, could be like, yeah, I'm done paying $90 to $100 on a phone bill. I'm going to take this phone and go to, Helium Mobile and freaking use it on Helium Mobile and pay $20 a month, or go to Mobile X and, pay a very cheap phone bill. But what does that do for the company that you got the phone from? Well, obviously they take a loss. They're going to take massive losses, right? You're talking about people that went in and financed, iPhone 16, Galaxy S25, Pixel 9, maybe made a few payments on it, right? So, maybe they put down they had to put down like $100 of the down payment, and then they financed the rest of the price of the phone over a 24-month, contract or a 36-month contract, right? And they're making like $22 a month payments on the phone. So if 100 was put down, and you got to factor in the 2-month payments, so what, $44, hypothetically speaking. So you have $144 out of, say, $1,000 paid on the phone. That means the person literally got the phone for literally $144, took the phone elsewhere to use, closed out their account where they got the phone from. That company now takes that loss. Well, what's going to happen with that? No company wants to take a loss. Businesses are out to make money, right? This is kind of like why I say, like, I play devil's advocate here. Let's switch the roles and ask yourself this. You don't have to answer it in the chat, but just ask yourself this in your head. If you own T-Mobile or you own Verizon, it's your business, right? You're making money off your business. You're selling goods to people. People are buying said product for their usage, right? So, you're doing well off. Now ask yourself, are you willing to take a loss? Are you willing to have 1 million customers do the exact same thing, costing you basically $800 in lost revenue? Then you take that $800 in lost revenue and you multiply it by 500,000. Are you willing to take that loss of money? Can you physically look at that bundle of money just leave your business? Like, you're sitting in your office, it's on your desk, someone comes in, grabs it, and walks out with it. They take it away from you. You just sit there and let them walk out with the money? Well, some people, I can say right now in your head, you're probably thinking like, hell no. $800 times 500,000 customers. That's a huge amount of money lost. And that's what's going to happen with this unlock policy. Because you got to be honest, in today's market, when it comes to smartphones, and smartphones are so important to the day-to-day lives of millions upon millions of people, if you can cheat the system, people today will cheat the system. Everything costs so much money. It costs money in life for gas. It costs a lot for food. It costs a lot for rent. The housing market is so bad, people are not buying houses, right? They're renting apartments. They're renting homes. But even then, that's become expensive. So if a person could save a quick buck by initiating a financial obligation with a company over said device, but not fulfilling the commitment that they made to pay off that device because it gets unlocked in 60 days, they can take it anywhere else they want to go. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that. I mean, we already see that now. And yes, I can speak from personal experience because I've worked for Boost Infinite as a customer care rep. I worked for Sprint as a retention and supervisor in retention. Started off as an agent for retention and worked my way up to like a supervisor. I worked for Mobile X. I worked for Verizon. And this is one thing that we would see. Not everyone was doing it. It's a very small case of people were doing it. But with this type of ruling from the FCC and the change up, forcing 60 days network unlock automatically, We're going to see a rise in that. And that's where you as a consumer in the future are going to pay the price. You, myself, will pay the price of this. Because, yeah, you may get away with the iPhone 16. Be able to laugh it off and say, oh, yeah, I only paid like $144 for it. Yeah, as soon as my phone was unlocked, I took that shit to Mint Mobile. I took that to Boost, Metro. Now I'm on a cheaper plan with the phone that I wanted. Didn't have to pay full price for that phone. Yes, you didn't, and that works out in your favor. You can laugh it off, ha, 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 and, relish in the fact. But when the iPhone 17 comes out, you're going to be superly shocked when you find out that there's not really any good deals. And that the best that you can do is maybe paying 91% of the value of the phone. That's the best deal you're probably going to start seeing. Because these companies, they're not going to take losses. They're not. They may get hit with some losses that's beyond their control, but they're not going to allow it to continue. It's like a boat on the ocean, just sailing along. If there's a hole big enough to leak water in to sink the ship, they're not going to keep riding it with an open hole, taking in all that water. They're going to plug it up. So we can start seeing less deals offered by carriers. We can start expecting to pay minimum 91% of the value of the phone. And then, one of the things that I've read on the internet from people that are talking about this is like, oh yeah, the companies, they won't take losses. All they got to do is blacklist the phone, and then the phone can't be activated on other carriers because you didn't pay for it completely. I mean, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, right? Like, oh yeah, you didn't finish your financial obligation and you're canceling your account, porting your number to another provider, taking a phone that you haven't fully paid for. We're going to blacklist your phone. But how much waste is that going to create? And what types of new kind of under the table bullshit are we going to start seeing? There is a market today where people pretty much get iPhones that cannot be activated in the US, and they sell them to people who take these phones overseas, refurbish them, and sell them in other countries. There is a market for that. It is in the black market, basically. It's under the table type stuff. Well, we're going to see a rise in that because, you get an iPhone 16, you didn't pay it off. Oh, okay, I can't take this now. I tried to take it on Metro, and they said that the device is not able to be activated. And what's going to happen? Well, they're going to find people in the black market to sell the phone to that can take it overseas and sell it. They're going to make their money on it. So we're going to start seeing a rise in that. We're going to start seeing more industrial waste. Some people won't even go that route. They don't even know how to go that route. They didn't even know that it existed. So what's the next best thing they're going to do? It's going to be paperweight on a desk. Eventually, it's going to, it's either going to end up in the landfill, or it's going to increase customer care complaints. Let me elaborate on that. Customer care complaints. Customer bought a phone, didn't fully pay it off, had the phone unlocked. Said company blacklisted the device to being activated in other U.S. carriers, so now the phone is paperweight. They sit on the phone, sits in a drawer for about a year. Their new phone that they have a year later, it breaks. Oh shit, I need a phone. Wait, I have another phone. Let me just call them and see if they can activate it now. Because, consumers, they don't trouble themselves with the intricate details of carriers, smartphones, and the telco industry. They don't give a shit about that. They care about the things that make them happy and stuff like that. So anyways, scenario, they contact customer care. They're like, yeah, my phone broke. It doesn't work, but I have this old one and I want to be able to use it. So then they try to get that phone activated for the customer. Still shows up on the system as blacklisted. Customer is going to get annoyed. In the first 10 minutes of that call, they're going to get annoyed. After 10 minutes of that call, they're going to get angry. They get angry when they're told, yeah, your device is blacklisted. Well, we don't tell them that it's blacklisted. You're not allowed as a customer care rep. Some do. Some will say the word blacklist, but you're not allowed to really. What you're supposed to say, technically, is that it's showing the device is not compatible. Where'd you get this device? That's why you always hear that question. It's like, oh, it's showing that it's not compatible. Can you tell me where you got the device from? And of course, people will they'll tell the truth. I got it from this carrier, and I left them to come to your guys' carrier. Didn't activate. Or some people will lie, and they'll say some shit like, I bought it at Best Buy. It's unlocked. They said it was unlocked. They guaranteed me it was unlocked. Or I bought it from the manufacturer. I bought it from Samsung's website. I bought it from Apple's website. And they'll swear up and down to their blue in the face that that's where they got it from. But they know they didn't get it from them. And so then they're going to sit there and argue with the rep. Sometimes for just 10 minutes. Sometimes for 20 minutes. Sometimes for half an hour. Sometimes for 3 hours. That causes a waste because while that rep has to continuously stand the ground and say the phone can't be activated, and they're arguing back and forth with the customer for 3 hours, somebody else who genuinely needed help has to wait longer to get help. But you see, it's a slippery slope. It affects a lot more things than what people think. Because the money is not coming out of your pocket, most people don't care. They don't give a shit to know. They don't care about it. Agree. Unlock the phone after 60 days. That's what a lot of people will say, because the money's not coming out of their pocket. It's only when it affects your pocket is when you're going to want change. And with a ruling like this being put in place by the FCC, 2 to 3 years from now, most consumers are not going to like this. When they start paying more out of pocket, when they have to pay 91% of the value of the phone rather than getting subsidized discounts or financing options. Because the only other way that you'll get a phone cheap is using one of those outsourced financial options, right? Like Klarna, or using something like Affirm. Any of those types of those businesses that will help you get a device. Hell, I don't know if people know about Progressive at Best Buy. But Best Buy, literally, you can sign up for Progressive, not the insurance company for cars, but this is, you can finance a phone. You sign up with Progressive Leasing is what it's called at Best Buy. And if you're approved, they give you a credit limit. It could be like $1,000, it could be $1,200. And if you get that, then you can finance a phone through Best Buy. You can buy out the phone. When you do that and you set it up and you tell them what phone you want and what the price is, they approve the financing. Once they're approved, a code is given to Best Buy. Best Buy plugs that code in. It pays off the full value of the device. So Best Buy gets paid full value of the phone. And then that Progressive Leasing company is the one that takes the monthly payments. But you're going to have to resort to things like that in order to get a phone at a discounted price. Another thing that was talked about was that device unlocking companies are going to lose business. Because when these phones are unlocked after 60 days, I mean, right now what we're looking at, when you have a phone that's locked to a network and not free to jump on any other network that's compatible with, most people go to companies like, the unlocker.com, unlocker.org, deviceunlock.net, all these various different sites, right? It's like $40 for your device to get SIM unlocked. Last week I saw an ad on eBay for an unlocked phone that can be used with any carrier except Verizon. Wonder why? Because more than likely the device itself is not compatible with Verizon's spectrum, like the bands that they offer. So when you look at a device, you gotta look at the 5G bands that is compatible and the LTE bands that's compatible. And if it's missing major ones that Verizon uses, then you wouldn't be able to use it on their network. It would be a terrible experience, especially, or if there's no bands that Verizon has that the phone just can't support, then it wouldn't be able to connect the data to their network. So that's probably why. I wouldn't say that's unlocked or locked down to Verizon network, because when a device is SIM locked, it's SIM locked. It's network locked. There's no other SIM that's going to work in there, and no eSIM that will download onto it. Like, I know I'm probably being that Donnie Downer, the one guy that's just going against the grain. Like, everyone else is like, yeah, fuck it, do it. 60 days, unlock my device. And I'm that one guy that's like, wait a minute, there's repercussions to this, and nobody wants to hear it. Oh, shut the fuck up, Tito. No one wants to hear you. Yeah, no one wants to hear me until, the shit that I'm guesstimating on becomes reality. I don't want to be paying 91% of the value of a phone if companies are willing to give like heavy discounts on them. And I like keeping my Pixel phone, so I don't want to have to trade in my Pixel phone to get a discount on it. I mean, some people are like, I don't keep phones, that's why I'm cool with trading in. And hey, that's great. Trade in and trade on, and you know, at least hopefully you're getting the best value of a price option for your trade in. But other people like to keep their phones that they've purchased, not traded in. And I don't want to have to trade in just to get $400 off a phone or $500 off a phone. I don't want to go to Klarna or any of those things. I don't trust them with my info. Like sometimes I want to get it through the carrier, and sometimes I want the deal to be through the carrier. Sign up today and get 25% off, you know, the Pixel 8a, you know, or get the Pixel 8a free with device credits on your account, signing up today on Google Fi, right? Like we're going to be losing out on those types of deals. What company wants to sell you a phone that they can, you know, they would be forced to unlock after 2 months, and there's like a good 80% chance you're going to leave their company? Like, I get it. The FCC is trying to do this because they're saying that it's unfair for carriers to keep you forced to stay with them. Granted, and technically, there really isn't a force by these companies to keep you with them. And oh my God, blasphemy, Tito! Why the hell did you say that? Listen up on this. If you go to a provider, say let's take Dish for example, because they got pretty good deals on the iPhones and the Galaxies. Say you go to them, you get a Galaxy S24 right now on Boost Infinite. You don't like their services. Their services don't work great in your area. Okay. Now you're financing the Galaxy S24. You would rather take your phone to Verizon. But your phone is locked, okay? Yeah, it's easy to sit there and say, oh, my phone is locked. They're forcing me to stay with them. No, they're not. They just want you to pay off the phone. You want to go to Verizon, go to Verizon. When I worked for Boost Infinite, this was one of the things I had to clarify with people when they would scream and try to blow my eardrums out. They're like cussing me up and down, left and right. Fuck you. You want me to stay with your company, your piece of shit network. And I would tell them, no. I want you to have the best service as possible. But you have, you know, at the time it was a Galaxy S23. And I had to tell them, you have a Galaxy S23. All you have to do is pay off the remaining balance of the Galaxy S23 to outright own it. We'll submit a ticket to unlock it, and you'll get an email when your device is unlocked to go on a different provider, and you can port your number out to that provider. So it's not, in my eyes, it's not about locking you in and forcing you to stay with them. It's about making you pay for the phone. That the phone has always been the biggest thing. Years ago upon years ago, for those who, you know, are the younger generation, you guys may not know this, but we never contracted over phones. We contracted over time. So Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, they would have things in place that would say, okay, you're signing up for service with us. We would like you to commit that you'll stay with us for 2 years or for 3 years. By committing with us, this $700 phone, you're going to get it today for $20, subsidized pricing. If you cancel before your 2-year contract is up with us, we have the right to charge you an early termination fee. That's what it used to be. That was forcing people to stay because nobody wanted to pay an early termination fee. Hell, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, Verizon, they got creative with it, and they started doing this thing where it's like, you're going to contract to stay with us for 2 years. If you leave us before 2 years, you get an early termination fee. But what they thought was innovative was they changed how the early termination fee was. It went from, you know, $300 per line early termination fee to them creating this thing where it's like, it's $300 per line early termination fee. However, after every 3 months, the ETF fee would go down by like $50. So if you're like 2 years into your contract or whatever, let's say well, no, your 2-year contract, let's say like you're like a year and a half into your 2-year contract, your ETF fee would be like $50 that you have to pay, because you've committed more time into the company, even though you left early. So they wouldn't charge you the full ETF price. They started doing stuff like that, but even then, it was just like, nope, you're forcing carriers to stay, you're forcing people to stay with you as a carrier. So the carriers got smarter. They're like, well, smartphones started coming into play. The Apple iPhone was released. Samsung had the Samsung Instinct, which was their first competition against the iPhone before they started actually making devices that held Android. They had their own proprietary software in the Samsung. Is it the Instinct? Yeah, the Samsung Instinct HD. I remember having that phone. But yeah, that's really what it was. They started realizing that people were starting to get more connected with their smartphones. They were more about, their phones than time. So all they did was convert contracts from timed contracts to device contracts. Because if you think about it, look at our phones today. You can finance a brand new Galaxy S24 Ultra, and all you got to do is commit to 24 payments. Well, how are those payments collected? They're collected monthly, once a month. So you just made a 24-month contract, but now it's not you promising to stay with the company, it's you paying off the phone you're using with the company. Once you pay that off, the phone's yours. They've gotten the 2 years out of you that they wanted. You got a phone out of it that, you could take to another carrier if you want to leave them. But see, everyone's in that fixation because the smartphones are moving so fast. Like, we used to be in an area where we would upgrade every 2 years on a phone. Just a regular cell phone, we would upgrade every 2 years, maybe every 3 years. There were people that were holding onto their cell phones until they broke. That could have been like 7 years later, and then they would go in and get a new phone. Smartphones are a little bit different, and now with the rapid movement of creating the next model, the next best thing, you got a good chunk of people in the world who upgrade their phones at minimum a year, less than a year, like 10 months. They buy a phone, 10 months later, they're upgrading to another phone. It's moving so fast. And so, yeah, financing a device has been the carrier's way of keeping a customer on their network, so that way they're making money. There are other tactics that carriers could use, right? Like, most carriers can actually start paying attention to their loyal customers and being giving to their loyal customers. Besides, like, it's always just weird to me. Carriers are always trying to get new customers to sign up with them, but are forgetting their loyal customers who have been with them for 10 years. So you have all these negative impacts that could happen if this is allowed to happen, if the FCC rules in favor of unlocked phones after 60 days. It's a lot of negative impacts. So what could they do? What could they do to alleviate this? Well, I would say this. This is my proposal on how they can fix this, where I consider it to be fair. If you buy a phone from any of these carriers, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Dish, and you pay full price for the phone, I believe the phone should be automatically network unlocked immediately, because you've paid full price for that phone. There shouldn't be we need you to be on our services for 2 months. No. That much I agree with this unlock. But I don't think 2 months needs to be waited before you can network unlock the phone. If you paid full price, so if the phone is $599 and you paid $653 because taxes, that phone is yours. Do what you want with it, right? It's like going to a dealership and buying a car. If you walk onto a dealership and you buy yourself, let's say 2023 Honda Civic, and you paid, say, the value of the car, sticker price is, base model $21,995, right? So you paid $24,000 for the car because you got to pay the taxes and the fees and things like that. So you outright bought the car. The Honda Civic is yours. You're not going to let them put a low jack GPS tracking on your car, right? You're not going to let the dealership put a tracker on your car. You're not going to let them put a lien on the title. The car is yours. You paid for it. You outright paid for it. It's your car. But it's understandable if you finance the car, $21,000 car, and you put down $3,000 as a down payment and you're making monthly payments of $421 a month. You're not going to have a problem with them putting their name as the lien on your title of your car, which means that it allows them to take repossession of the car if you fail and default on your payments, right? You don't mind because you're making $421 monthly payments to own the car. You don't care that their name is on the title. And that's the same concept that I think will work here with this issue, with this unlocking device issue. If you fully pay off the phone, unlock the fucking thing right then and there. If you're financing the phone, you don't have that right to have it unlocked until you pay off the phone. That's what I think would work, because it would have people fulfill their financial obligations and commitments by financing the device. You're asking a company to trust in your financial judgments and your history of your finances to allow you to make monthly payments for the phone. You're asking them to trust you, and they chose to. So the least you can do is fulfill your commitments and obligations, pay the fucking phone off, and then get it unlocked. That's how I feel that this is the best way for it to work out. Because if they do it this way, then we don't lose out on any promotional deals. We don't lose out on any subsidized prices. Companies don't take a loss in a grand scale. And the underdogs, the online website phone unlockers, they remain in business and can still make their money. That is the reality of all this. You gotta look at the bigger picture. In my way of doing things, everybody wins. Except for the person who's financing a device and had the idea to start a financial obligation on a smartphone because they were going to cheat the system. They're the only ones that don't win in this situation, and they shouldn't win in this situation. It is that type of thinking that fucks it up for everybody else out there to get the best deals. Think back to like 2012. We had the best deals on phones back then. We had 80% knock off the price. But over time, as people started to cheat the system, get these phones, get them unlocked, take them to a different provider, and totally screw the company that they were with and where they got the phone from, they screwed them over. They started to change how their deals were and how they structured their deals. And that's where the issue lies. That's what hurts us the most when it comes down to that. I mean, it's just like it's simple. Think about like a grocery store or even a general supply store, right? Like Walmart, Target, all those places. Why do you think that certain products go up in price? Why anyone can answer this question in the chat if they want. I can tell you that it goes up in price because when you have people shoplifting, stealing from a store, it raises the price on the goods the store sells because obviously, they have insurance to cover the losses of products, right? Every chain has insurance. There's insurance. They have to file these broken items, these stolen items, lost items. They have to file it as an insurance. So the consumer eats that loss. Because what used to be $1.29 now becomes $2.29. Something that used to be $5.99 now becomes $7.99. Something that used to be $15.99 is now $21.99. They raise the prices on the products because they got to recoup some of the loss. And the same thing happens here. If people consistently cheat the system to get a phone at a discounted price to then take it to another carrier of their choosing, the original carrier that the device came from takes the loss. So then they're not really going to want to take that loss. And now you, the consumer, take that loss. Whereas you could have had 50% off a phone. Now they're not going to give you 50% off the phone. Now they're going to make promo deals that's like 65% off, not 65, but 45% off the phone, 30% off the phone, 25% off the phone. You're not going to see 50% off the phone anymore. Now that's taken off the table. Another way to kind of look at this for people to understand is if you ever seen that TV show Deal or No Deal, think about it like that. On the board, there's all kinds of promotional deals and discounts. And every time that someone takes a phone that they didn't finish paying off and they go to one of these unlocking websites and get it unlocked and they take it to a cheaper carrier, on that board, one of the best deals gets taken off. The briefcase for that deal gets opened and it gets taken off because you opened the briefcase, right? It's the best analogy, well, one of the best analogies I can put on this. So that's just like a little food for thought for people out there. Before we start celebrating if the FCC rules in favors of carriers to unlock phones after 60 days, really expand your mind and think about how is this going to impact you? Because it may not impact you immediately, but over the years to come, it will. And when it happens, you're not going to like it. You're going to take to social media and do what people do best today on social media, bitch and complain. Oh, this company's trying to rip me off because they won't give me a loyal customer a discount. Well, why should they give you a discount? They're losing, millions of dollars in, possible revenue if people would commit to their promises. So because they lost that revenue, they're going to recoup it and they're going to protect their assets. They're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's not on repeat mode. That's what they're going to do. Got to keep that in mind. Anyways, that's pretty much how I look at this. I appreciate those for jumping in and watching this quick live episode. I am going to go ahead and take it out for the rest of the day. Like I said, if you guys could smash that like button, share this on other social platforms so people can listen to what I have to say on this, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you guys enjoy my work, you enjoy my podcast, and you want to show it in monetary donation, the upper QR code, you can do that there. However, like I said, in any way that I can give you guys stuff, I will try to. And this is one of the ways. QR code below is a QR code to get you 1 month free when signing up with Helium Mobile. Give them a shot. $20 a month for unlimited talk and text. And you have data to use on the T-Mobile network as well as a peer-to-peer network sharing. It's fucking amazing. On top of that, earning crypto just for using your phone. I mean, that's also, if you're someone who's involved in heavy into crypto, just mapping and you earn crypto. So why not? Go ahead and check them out at heliummobile.com and use my QR code right there. It gives you the promo code to get you guys started 1 month free to try out their services. Until then, I'll talk to you on the next one. As always, aloha.